guys, it's Dana with Empower RV.
And Brenda with Queen Bee RV. We are coming to you from Athens, Texas at the National RV Training Academy, and it's another episode of 52 Ways to Empower Women RVers. And we are standing at Dana's campsite by her rig, and we want to go over the water systems and the two ways that we can get water through our plumbing system, our water distribution system, and some best practices to maximize your experience with it. So we're going to talk about, there's some RVing terms in here.
Yep.
Let's talk about ways that you can get water into the system. And the first one is called city water. And that means when you're at a campground or somebody's house, wherever you decide to connect, that you are going to connect to a water spigot or a hose bib with water coming from the city or the county, something to do with the municipality, and that is going to be connected to your rig. Now, I'll talk about water pressure in a minute, and that I just want to note that you're getting pressure from the city when you connect to city water. So Dana's city water connection is right here. It's a threaded cap. She has a cool little feature on the end here to help her hose not take such a hard bend whenever it's plugged or connected to the camper. So there's little brass elbows and fun things that you can do, because sometimes we put extra accessories on there. So city water is one of the ways that we do this. That pressure that comes from the municipality, from the city, is really unpredictable.
Right.
You just don't know. And the plumbing fittings on our rig cannot withstand. They are no match for that. Sometimes if you put too much pressure on your plumbing fittings, that's going to result in some kind of leak, and then it's really costly and it's hard to track that stuff down. So we want to do something about it, and most RVers will implement a pressure regulator. There are just really simple ones that are 20 bucks. There are some that are, you can dial in the PSI, the pressure that you want, and then we'll show you guys how to connect them. Usually the pressure regulator is at the spigot or the hose bib. And then one more little feature here, some people will use a filter. If you're going to, maybe you just want the cleanest water for your shower and washing your hands. Some people actually drink the water inside. So you can attach that filter either at the spigot or here, and we've got pros and cons for that. And we teach about it at 52U. So we'll teach you more. In the meantime, I want Dana to talk about what's the other way that we get water into the plumbing system if we don't have access to city water.
Okay, so you have a second option, and it's going to be your holding tank, your freshwater holding tank. This happens to be where mine is. Mine is actually a gravity fill. You have two options. Let's see if I can open that. I actually just have to poke the hose in there and fill it up. You might also have a threaded part right here. So there's two different ways. It just depends on your rig.
The gravity is bigger, isn't it?
Gravity is bigger, and the actual full head of the hose will fit right in.
Yeah.
It won't go too far down, but it fits right in and will fill up on its own. You'll know that that's full because on a gravity fill, it will come gushing back out at you, which is totally normal. Sometimes you've seen somebody walking through the campground that might have water pouring out of their camper because they have forgotten that they were filling their fresh water. Not a problem, just turn the water off. If you have the threaded, there is a safety feature on the interior water tank holding system where there's an opening at the top. So if you are threaded and you don't have the luxury of it pouring back, it's going to come out the top underneath your camper. So if you see water coming out from under your camper and you're filling, you're full. You can also check your control panel, your panel board in the camper to know where you are. But we encourage you to use this holding tank because two things. When you use the holding tank, you would use it when you're boondocking.
Right.
A lot of people will fill it at the campground regardless if they're on city water, because we've all experienced the campground losing water pressure. Somebody's broken a pipe, run over something, and if you don't already have water, then you're kind of out of luck until they get it fixed. So most people will fill it when they get to a campground, and you can use this freshwater holding tank as a supplement to city water pressure as well.
That's a great idea.
So if you have poor water pressure coming from the city tank, you'll turn on your water pump interiorly, and that will supplement that city water with the fresh water coming from your tank to give you a better PSI.
You just reminded me of something. Do you travel with your holding tank full?
I do not. We've learned in our courses here at the Big Red Barn that best practice is not to travel with your tanks full. There's lots of reasons for that, and if you want to know, come take your classes here.
It's heavy.
But it's heavy, first of all, and the way they're designed and built. it's just not the way they used to be. So I do travel with a little bit of water just for washing hands, flushing toilets, things like that while we're en route.
Right.
But not full, not even half full.
Right.
And I try to dump the black tank every time, you know, we leave a campground so that we're leaving with the least amount of weight in our camper as we can. Plus, gas is expensive these days.
I know,
So
gosh.
if you're not, the less weight you're pulling, the better. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that, let's see, did I get it all?
I think so. I was going to talk
so.
about the
Okay.
water pump, how it gets pressure.
Oh yeah, tell us about the water pump.
So the holding tank is down below your RV and it's attached to the frame, but your plumbing system is up above it. So you need to be able to get that water up and out into your plumbing lines. So we use an on-demand water pump. So the water pump itself operates on 12-volt DC. That's your coach battery, so it's got to be charged to be able to operate it. You can power it on, and then it does not send water into your faucets and whatnot until you actually open a faucet. That's why we call it on demand. So once you open up one of the faucets, you will hear the noise. So don't be surprised when you first activate the water pump, you'll hear this rumbling kind of noise. And then there's another issue. If you hear it continually, you should only hear it when you open a faucet.
Right.
But if you hear it other times.
If you hear that every so often, that water pump pressurizing, you might have a leak somewhere. So that is something to be aware of. But best practice is if you're not using that water pump, turn it off. Because if you end up traveling, something hits a faucet, something falls from the cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
In the shower, I actually had it happen coming here.
Oh, my goodness.
My shower got knocked just a little bit, so when I plugged in and turned my water pump on, I had water coming out.
Just gushing out.
Because, so it's best practice to make sure your water pump's off when you're traveling. If you hear it and it's on and you're not calling for it, you might have a leak.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good job. Well, we hope you liked this material. If you did, give us a thumbs up and comment below. Follow us on 52 Ways and Counting on social media, and we'll see you on a next episode.